And are we up?
We're live.
Yes. Welcome to Soundtracks with Birdman and Age Boomer tonight. We are doing Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. How are you, Mr. Age Boomer?
Very well, thank you. And I'm
So,
looking. Go ahead.
what was your first experience with Psycho?
My first experience with Psycho was Leonard Nimoy talking about it on. He had some show he did on Nickelodeon. I think it was Nickelodeon or some other channel about movies, right? And of course, his little special spoils the ending of Psycho. So I already knew what the ending was before I ever saw it.
Spoiler alert!
I don't think I ever saw Psycho all the way through until high school. I don't know why that's the case, but I did. I was always a big fan of it then. It was one of my first DVDs I ever bought. They had a Universal set which came with Psycho, Vertigo, and 4 episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. That was on the set, and it was a pretty decent set. But yeah, it was. I have to say though, those DVDs eventually died on me though, because a lot of those early Universal DVDs, they just they just weren't really good quality, you know.
Too bad.
All right. Okay, so we can wait around a few minutes. So, was this my pick? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, this was your pick.
Psycho. I figure at some point we got to do a Bernard Herrmann. I'm thinking it's Halloween time. I figured Psycho was a good pick for this. You know.
Did you see Torn Curtain?
Torn Curtain. No, is that the one where they kicked Bernard Herrmann off of the soundtrack?
Yeah.
And
he
falling out with him and Hitchcock. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, he scored the entire film, and Hitchcock came down for the first day of scoring, and he's just like, "No, you have to rewrite it." And Herrmann was like, "This is what you hired me to do. This is what I do." And Alfred Hitchcock was like, "Bye," and that was that.
Terrible.
So, but the rejected score is out there on CD now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it in my eBay watch list. I may end up buying it this week. We'll have to see.
How pricey is that?
About $40.
I have to tell you, one DVD that was on my watch list, but I still haven't bought, is the I think it's a double feature of the Ipcris File and $1 Billion Brain, which were these 2 Michael Caine spy movies made in the 60s. And I just really like the score to those, but yeah, let me see. So let's see. We got 2 people.
What was the first one?
The Ipcris File. I think that was the name of it. Yeah, hold on. I think that was Michael Caine. The guy, one of the producers of the James Bond movies, wanted to adapt another spy series. And the thing with this spy series, though, is that the Michael Caine character, he was. I don't know if it was supposed to be a more realistic portrayal of the spy, but he didn't have a lot of money. He lived in a crappy apartment, you know. He was trying to get money. He was trying to get them to give him money for a car, you know, just to get something to drive in. So it wasn't like James Bond. And he was more like a pencil pusher type, but he ended up getting caught up in things. It was, I don't know, it was kind of interesting. All right. So let's see. Soundtracks with Birdman. To see if anybody else popped in. All right. So when do you want to start the movie?
I'm ready if you're ready.
All right. Hopefully people will drop in. Thought they could check it out later. All right.
Yeah, it's up forever. I'm at Universal Sunrise is coming up.
Yeah, hold on.
Like 4 seconds.
I got my Blu-ray. Oh, do you have the Universal Sunrise? Wait till you get to the Paramount, okay? We'll cue it up there.
Okay.
Oh, wait, never mind. I have the Universal Sunrise. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Did you already cue it up to the Paramount?
I'm waiting for Paramount.
Just wait for Paramount and pause it, then I'll do the same, all right?
Okay.
I can only think that Universal must have bought these pictures from Paramount.
Oh, wait, I'm on Paramount Pictures now.
You know,
Paramount used to do a lot of good films, and then they just kind of stopped doing good films.
I'll admit I am kind of a sucker for the Mission Impossible movies.
Well, it depends which one we're talking about.
Well, I don't know.
I
They're which one
I
didn't you
did
like?
not. The second one was just like so horrible.
Top grossing movie of 2000. Did you know that? Okay. Anyway, are you ready to start? It's like 3, 2, 1.
Yes, three, two, one.
Okay, three,
Okay,
2, 1, play.
okay.
All right.
Now, first time I saw Psycho was the Boston Pops did it a couple Halloweens ago,
Oh,
and
awesome.
I was like wow, I'll go to that. So but before I went, I'm like, well, I haven't seen the movie. I need to at least listen to the film score, and I did. And this opening part, I was like, wow, this is really good. Because all I knew was the stabbing music, but the violins in this are great.
Yeah, I mean, this. I think that they were on a budget for the score, and they had to use strings, right? That's all he had. That's what he decided to do.
I've heard that. I've also heard it was an artistic choice by Herman because he wanted to par down the score.
Yeah, I think he was quoted as saying he wanted to. It's a black and white film. I want to make a black and white score.
Yeah. It's odd you say black and white score. Steven Spielberg described John Williams' score to Minority Report as a black and white score.
Oh, but, really?
Yeah, it's in the liner notes, which kind of struck me as odd, and I've still pondered that statement all these years.
I need to rewatch Minority Report. I haven't seen that in a little while.
I've never seen it, so
I'm a sucker for Philip K. Dick stuff. So I did enjoy it. That's another Tom Cruise movie, but sometimes the Spielberg sentimentality it gets on my nerves a little, but I still like the movie. I think I own that one. Yeah, it had a good cast too. All right, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This is a wonderful intro, just with the
and to me, it's not creepy. This is kind of creepy right here, but the opening credit music, I find it rather upbeat.
Yeah, it's kind of like Fast Frantic, and this is more gentle, though, I think. But I don't know. You think?
Kind of like you're bleeding into something that shouldn't be going on.
Yeah. Well, in a way, you kind of are.
Maybe for 1960.
But I'm trying to think.
Hello, Melissa Harris. Thank you for coming by. How are you?
Oh, hey, Melissa. Good to see you. We're doing the Psycho rewatch. Now, I believe in the film version, is he a divorcee? Is that what's going on? Or
yes.
is his wife like granting him the
divorce? He's divorced. Okay, but single now, and she's single. So I don't see what the big problem is, but
I don't know. I know that in the book it was different. In the book, he was a businessman, but he ended up getting into a lot of debt, and he didn't want to marry her until he got that under control. And she was kind of getting a little older, and she actually didn't expect to ever meet a man either. Like she had been too career focused, or I forget what she did in the book, but she probably did what she did in this. I think. Okay.
I mean, she even makes the comment that she hasn't even been married yet. And
yeah.
I guess 1960 sensibilities are a little different from today.
Well, yeah. I mean, you couldn't be obvious, especially if you're not a married couple sharing a hotel room. I mean, it might raise some eyebrows. I'm not sure when this was made. This is early 60s, right? I think.
Filmed in 59, released in 60.
Yeah, so this would still be, I mean, again, I wasn't there around at the time, but it's probably one of these things where you, they're in a hotel, they're not even married, I mean, I would think that was still a thing back then, but
she's wearing white underwear, and for the rest of the movie, she's in black underwear.
Interesting.
It's like after she steals the money, she changes to black underwear. It's more Catwoman-esque, I guess.
I didn't think about that. Well, yeah, I mean, she hasn't really done anything wrong. I mean, she's having this illicit affair with a single man, but I mean, it's.
I mean, it's not like it's a Tinder hookup.
No, I mean, that's true. That's true. I mean, I could see them getting married, and it's not going to be a big thing.
Now, did you see Psycho 2?
I did.
What did you think about that one?
I actually like Psycho 2, and I even like Psycho 3, and I know there's some people that don't. I think that Psycho 2, for starters, if I were you, any viewers, I would treat it as apocrypha, like this is a what-if story. You don't have to treat it as a direct sequel, but I think it isn't bad. I think that people at the time were actually genuinely trying to make a Hitchcockian-style suspense movie, and they brought Anthony Perkins back, and I think for what it is, it's really good. Nothing's going to beat the original, but there were some good twists in it. I enjoy it. I know some people don't, but it was actually kind of clever, though, because, the setup and everything in it.
And Jerry Goldsmith did the score to Psycho 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder. That's probably another reason I like the movie. Okay.
Yeah. Melissa Harris says Norman is heavyset and balding in the book.
He is. He is actually not young like he is in the movie. In the movie, he's in his 20s. In the book, I think he's in his late 30s, 40s. Yeah, like he's been a homebody his whole life. He is older. Yeah, there's some differences in the book. It's been a while since I've read it, but like I said, I do remember that her big thing was, though, is that there's something stopping them from getting married in this too, I think, right? Like, isn't he pulling away?
He's worried about paying off his father's bills, and he still pays alimony for his ex-wife.
Okay, yeah, so here we go. It's the whole alimony thing, and they do bring the debt into this as well. Okay.
Yeah. Again, maybe 1960 that meant something. Today, it's like, hey.
Yeah, but this was 1960.
The music here doesn't feel like a love theme.
No, it doesn't. It feels kind of forlorn.
And like this movie's right at 2 hours, and the entire film score is like 1 hour and 1 or 2 minutes. That's a decent film score for 1960.
Yeah. I mean, were they more sparse with the scores at that time, I think?
They were, yeah. But this is interesting. She took tranquilizers on her wedding night. That's kind of
well.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just like, okay.
Anyways, here we go. Is it the Texan? Oh my word! You know what I do like about this movie is that these are all regular people. Okay.
Yeah.
Like these are, she's probably not in a great apartment. Maybe has a roommate. She's not. This is probably
she does live with her sister.
She does live with her sister. Okay, so yeah. I mean.
Oh, just rub it in, cowboy.
My word. Unhappiness.
Buy it off.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes. So he's dropping $40,000, and I was just like, "How much is $40,000 inflation adjusted?" $350,000.
Yeah. Back then, yeah, that's a lot. This is he's getting her a nice house. Okay, and think about it too. Houses were cheaper too.
They were, but $350,000 even today, it ain't going to go very far.
No,
I mean, I'm not giving up everything for $350,000.
Well, I don't know. What was it back? Yeah, I don't know. My dad used to always talk about in the 70s though with inflation. And granted, 350,000, you made the adjustment, but he was making a point that things were shooting up like during the late 70s like crazy. It was. Oh man, I keep wondering what hair color. That's a blonde, right? She's a blonde, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Big Al. How are you?
Big Al.
I wave and I can't see you.
But it's HAWT Al. Oh man, though. I'm just. I mean, this is tense enough. What she's planning to do here. You could base a movie around this. Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that brings up an interesting point. Whose movie is this? Is this her movie or is this Norman Bates' movie? Because he don't come in till the halfway point.
That's a good question. This was an experiment at the time. And the book is the same way. I mean, you do have her. Oh, you go right on home. Oh God, I'm sorry, but yeah, no.
Someone's already had a little drink, but because see, like first time I saw it, I'm like, I've spent an hour with her. Now she's dead, and now I'm spending the last hour with Norman. Well, to me, it's two films.
Good point. I didn't think about it that way.
But it's the same film score. The film score doesn't really change.
Yeah,
it's still the same. Hello, Chris P.
That is a good way of looking at this as two movies. I didn't think about that because people made a point about Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, how it starts out with one story and then, people get killed and then it goes into another story with a new set of people. And you could argue it's almost two films. And I wonder if in some ways this is, I mean, because we do lose that. She's in the, that's Deliberate the Black. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's the Catwoman underwear.
I believe she was married to Tony Curtis, right? And their daughter was Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, their daughter was Jamie Lee Curtis, from Halloween.
Yes, Big Al has done the inflation adjustment for us to the penny. Thank you, Big Al. 351,729 and 73 cents.
That's pretty good. All right.
So, like, how would you have felt if in Star Wars, halfway through the movie, Luke Skywalker's killed, and then it's someone else?
Different kind of movie, I would argue, because that's a because in a movie like that, if the hero were to die, it would happen at the end. It would be a heroic moment. I don't. This is a suspense movie, so. Or is it a horror movie? I've heard people go back and forth.
First half is suspense. Second half is psychological horror.
Yeah, maybe. It's here we have this score. This is the score that used to play on the DVD menu right here.
It's like the thinking music.
Yeah. You have time. You have time to rethink this.
And now, from like an audience perspective, is she just having these thoughts, or are this actually conversations that are happening, and we're just privy to them for the sake of narration?
I don't know. I think she's having these thoughts, like of what if or what happened, that sort of thing. Oh, look, he looks at her and is like, "Why are you out? Didn't you have a headache?" Remember? It's like.
Now we get the urgent music starting. Which to me still isn't scary or frightening. It's just a sense of urgency.
Now she's getting out of Dodge. This is kind of frantic, though. I mean, she's not stopping anywhere.
But the strings right there, like the lighter sounding strings, very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually got 4 Academy Award nominations. Best Director, she got Best Supporting Actress, Best Cinematography for Black and White, and Best Art Direction for Black and White.
But no score.
No. The winner that year was Exodus by Ernest Gold.
Oh.
Crickets. Yeah,
okay.
I can't.
I don't think I've ever seen Exodus.
I don't think I've ever heard the music. I'm like, okay. That just seems to be like a total you missed the basket. I mean, yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. I will say this: in the remake, they have Clancy Brown playing this part of the cop, and I
Hmm.
don't know who's playing him in this. Is this Telly Savalas? Maybe not.
Uh,
I don't know. Whoever it is, it looks like Clancy Brown. Okay, which I thought was interesting that they cast Clancy Brown in the remake, but. They said
what did
Alfred
you?
Hitchcock.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, they said Alfred Hitchcock had a huge fear of police officer or of cops.
Huh.
I guess they're getting pulled over and stuff. But you were saying?
What did you think about the remake with Julianne Moore
Oh,
and
that
Vince
one.
Vaughn?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's and Heche. All right. Well, since we're talking on the remake, Ty West, he's a horror director I like, who's a younger horror director I like, and he did one of those trailers from hell videos on YouTube, and he did the Psycho remake, and he said that the Psycho remake is one of the greatest experiments in film because he says, can you take a movie and have a different director and then shoot it shot by shot, and will it be the same movie, and will you like it as much? And he said the answer is no. So there is something about having a certain director directing a certain movie. It's not that Gus Van Sant's a bad director. It's just that I think this is all on Hitchcock, and it's hard to point my finger on why the remake doesn't work. Some of the actor choices are interesting. Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates is an interesting choice. So is
He
William
played
H.
Norman
Macy.
Bates.
Yes.
I thought he would have played the girl's boyfriend.
No, he played Norman Bates. I forget who. Oh, Viggo
Okay.
Mortensen. Viggo Mortensen, the guy that played Strider in Lord of the Rings.
He would make a better Norman Bates to me.
I don't know. But William H. Macy plays the detective that goes looking for the stuff later on. So, and the scene with William H. Macy doing the inquiry is actually very good in the remake, I thought. But again, it's kind of superfluous. You don't really need to see it, but it's an interesting movie to watch just to see why something doesn't work when it's remade shot for shot. Don't ask me why; it just doesn't. It's hard to put a finger on. They didn't change too much either. Listen, Harris. Norman Bates reminds me of Two-Face from Batman and Ventriloquist and Hulk. All three of them have multiple personalities disorders. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure which came first. That's a good point, but
Mort Mills played the highway patrol officer.
Okay, never mind then. Okay. The music is tense, though. I'm going to say that music is tense.
It is. It's definitely got some urgency behind it.
It's exhilarating. I mean, it's not like the themes we hear later, and this is more the. Let's face facts. All the music in this is kind of creepy in a way. I don't know why. Maybe it's just as I know it's coming.
I will listen to this some nights before I go to, like, when I'm going to bed. I just put it on YouTube and press play and fall asleep, and never have nightmares. So.
I don't actually have a physical copy of the soundtrack. I bought it with Amazon points because you can do the digital downloads from them.
Yeah.
And if you do the Prime, I know for a while I had the Prime, so I was doing the Prime shipping. You would get $1 off music, so I would save up for certain things. And since there wasn't really a specialized score of this at the time, I just bought the base score off Amazon Prime. And I also got the Vertigo soundtrack that way too.
This film never had an official soundtrack release.
Yeah, it's too bad.
The original recordings are lost to time, which oh Lord.
I think I heard that, and I guess I can get it from the actual film itself, but it's not the same. Sometimes what people do is they'll hire an orchestra to redo the score. They did that with the North by Northwest I own. It's actually I think they got I forgot who did it, but they actually got an orchestra to rescore the whole soundtrack because a lot of that was lost too for North by Northwest, but they rescored it and put it on a 2-disc set, and that's actually a very nice nice album for North by Northwest. You like the cars back then? I went to a car museum on my vacation.
They're a little big, coming from a guy that drives a Sequoia, but they're a little big.
I I saw all kinds of cars.
Do you have a favorite old car?
Oh, I don't know. I need to verse myself better. I will say I did see some Ferraris in there. They were nice. Because I kept thinking about Ford versus Ferrari because the guy was talking about because like the cars we were seeing in there were from that time. And we saw Model Ts. They had those in there. Beetles are nice. I kind of like Beetles. But
You know that car was created because of Hitler.
oh, I think that was mentioned. Yes.
Yes.
The guy gave us a little tour around the museum. Yeah.
He wanted a cheap, affordable car for everyone in Germany, and that was it.
I heard that Fanta, a friend at work was telling me that Fanta, the soda, came because World War II happened and the German company that made the Coca-Cola over there couldn't make Coca-Cola anymore, so they made this orange soda instead. That's where Fanta came from. You know, I kept thinking it was a South American beverage, you know, because they always advertise it like it's something from South America, but no.
Well, they did all go to South America afterwards.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was a hit over there, but yeah.
Speaking of that, have you seen The Boys from Brazil? Or have you heard of it?
I have. I need to rewatch that though. But yes, who did the score to that? Was that Goldsmith?
Goldsmith, yes.
Yes.
Is it a creepy movie, or is the trailer just creepy?
Oh, you've never seen it?
No, I've listened to the film score and I saw the movie trailer. I'm like, this looks creepy.
It's worth watching. Do you know what the basic premise is?
Joseph Mengele's in it or something.
Yes, and he's figured out a way to clone Hitler. He's made Hitler clones.
Okay.
Like little kids that are basically Hitler's clone.
Oh.
But there's an interesting twist at the end, which I think it was an interesting movie. I probably just spoiled the big spoil of the movie though. But yeah, I think who was playing Mengele in that again?
Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier, yeah, I think. I keep thinking Laurence Olivier was a Marathon Man though. That was another one with that was about a Nazi hiding out in America.
Yeah, Goldsmith got nominated for an Academy Award for that score, and another really creepy, super creepy film score by Goldsmith is the Mephisto Waltz.
I need to see that. I've heard good things about that movie, but I've never seen it.
The score is creepier than The Omen. The Omen has creepy parts, but like the love theme for The Omen's very beautiful. It's very beautiful.
It's a very sad song too, because you know I feel terrible for the Gregory Peck character and his wife in that, because they really do love each other. It's just that
children. What are you going to do with them? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. It's the whole prophecy. They're getting caught up in the prophecy. Oh, Sound
Engraver's in the house.
Hey guys, hope all is well. I can only stay for a few short minutes. I want to pop in and wish you a great stream. Well, thank you, Sound Engraver.
Thank you, Sound Engraver.
I will say.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say
I'm sorry. You go. I'll be quiet.
Okay. I was going to say you will like this score if you ever listen to it. It's all strings. You might get a kick out of it. Okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking you'd be good to break down all the technical stuff that I read about while doing research, because it was way over my head.
I like that though. Melissa Harris says Professor Geek hears this theme every time Dan Didiot shows up. That's funny.
Probably so. Either that or the shower music.
Oh, well, Chris P says I'm quite familiar with Fanta. I stock it at work. Okay, Chris P, how many different types of Fanta do they sell? Let's see. You know what's terrible? I think I found one of those Coca-Cola shirts in a thrift store. It's this nice button-down shirt with a Coca-Cola patch on it, and then I found out that's the shirt that all the Coca-Cola stalkers, all the Coca-Cola delivery people wear. People kept asking me, "Oh, where do you work?" And I'm like, I found this in a thrift store. I had to stop wearing it out in public, you know, because it's like I felt like I shouldn't own this shirt."
So, Sound Engraver, if you're still here, can you explain what it means to play with your bows down for violin? Because I didn't quite understand that.
That'd be interesting.
And
We'll bring it up next time she's doing a live stream. That might be interesting.
Again, back to my previous question: is this just for exposition's sake, or is she just having these conversations in her head? Which I could see both.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I think she's thinking this is what they're saying.
I mean, at least hoping her boss wouldn't sell her down the river so fast.
Now she's smiling.
I don't think she liked the cowboy very much.
Did you?
No, not particularly.
It's funny. I can say there's a lot of repetition of the score in this, but yeah, go ahead. You were saying
there is. The Texan was kind of stereotypical, but it is a very minimalistic score, so there is a lot of repetition, but it builds and adds to the intensity.
Right.
One thing that I think would be interesting, maybe a little bit blasphemous, would be to have this score but replace the strings with maybe the brass section. I just like to hear it.
You know what you may want to try sometime. There was a score to Reanimator. Okay, it's a horror movie.
That's a good family film.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, but even if you just listen to the score, the composer for that movie lampoons the Psycho theme in the Reanimator opening credits. It's tonally different, but it's based off the Psycho theme. And the Bernard Herrmann Society skewered him and said, "How dare you? This is an atrocity." He says, "That's what I was meaning it to be. You know, it's supposed to sound, you know." Because he loves Bernard Herrmann, the composer, said he was just trying to. It's kind of like his joke, like how not to write the Psycho theme, you know, and that's the theme to Reanimator. Like I think it has a bassoon in it or something. It's worth just checking out. Maybe I'll send you the link to the opening credits for Reanimator just so you can hear the theme.
So, Sound Engraver says it's a hammering effect. Does it end up hurting the violin or the bow?
Interesting. She mentions hammering effect. Oh, look, there's Mrs. Bates in the window.
Do you like that house?
It's terrifying. I believe they used this house on the Bates Motel series they made too in recent years.
See, I think it's a nice looking Victorian home. I
don't know. I've always associated it as being kind of creepy though. Maybe it's just because of this movie.
Yeah, but it's definitely a Victorian home, which kind of plays in with his mother's strict. Well, I mean, we're told his mama was strict. We don't really know, but.
Well, we're assuming she is because you know, as far as we know, she is, at least to this point in the movie. Crispy Jeffrey Combs, great character actor. He was the voice of the Question and the Scarecrow in Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, he wasn't the original voice of the Scarecrow. I think he was the voice of the Scarecrow when they did the later episodes of Batman the Animated Series. It took place 5 years later. When they were doing them around the same time as Superman the Animated Series. He was terrifying as the Question. It's a pity Anthony Perkins didn't get to do a voice on Batman the Animated Series. I wonder what they would have had to do.
Yeah,
because he could have been in one of these cartoons. Because they got a lot of great voice actors on that. I will say though, Anthony Perkins' son actually directs horror movies now.
Really?
Oz Perkins. He did one called The Blackcoat's Daughter, which I actually thought was rather impressed with. So that was a creepy movie in its own right. But it's interesting that his son actually became a horror movie director. I just thought it was interesting. So let's see.
When did he die? Did he die in the 80s?
I think in the 90s maybe, because I know that he did a He did more Psycho movies after this. He did Psycho 4, which I don't really care for. That's almost like the prequel, a prequel movie. But and I liked Bates Motel up to a point. I thought the last season though struggled a little bit because I think they started actually redoing this story in the final season, and it just didn't capture what this had. But
Died 1992.
yeah, I thought it was in the 90s. Now, how old do we think Marion Crane is in this? I think in the book she was late 20s, early 30s. That's what I.
To me, she looks mid 30s.
Yeah, I think she was worried she was never getting married or anything because she had, I think, focused too much on career, and I don't know. And then she ended up going on a cruise just by herself, and then that's where she met Sam. Okay, and found out about his story.
I mean, 1960s. I don't think many women would have gone on cruises by themselves. That's
Yeah. Well, and I don't know when the book was written. The book might have been 59 or 58. They were pretty fast in adapting stuff back then, though. So if a book was a hit, they would get it on the fast track. Norman Bates comes off as differently in the book. Just even in personality, he has more of a calm feel to him in this. Where in the other one, he would get into, I think he would shout more. Look at that money.
so. Sound Engraver says that no violins or bows were harmed in this scene.
Okay.
You know, I hate having cash on me, so that would just make me nervous. I do like that wallpaper, though.
Yeah. You do?
Yeah.
I wonder what it looks like in color. I bet we can see it in color in the. Should looking at the newspaper?
Yeah.
Okay. Expect to look at today's paper. Money stolen, and no, that would be kind of cheesy. I think if they did that. Yeah, I mean it's almost like we have like, I'm trying to think how many different variants on the same musical track we have in this. Oh, here we go. I love this. His mother's terrifying.
She's not very friendly.
What music whispers, mother, she's just a stranger. She's hungry and it's raining out. As if men don't desire strangers, as if I refuse to speak of disgusting things because they disgust me. It's all kinds of uncomfortable right now.
How old is Norman here? I mean, Melissa said in the book he was a little bit older, but how old do you think he is in the movie? To me, he comes across like 20, 21.
Yeah, 22, 23. Yeah, early 20s. Probably old enough to drink, but go to a bar. Of course, back then I think it was 18 anyway. Yeah, he's early 20s at the oldest, I'm thinking, in this. And I think in some ways it works better. I don't know, or maybe it's just Anthony Perkins' performance. Because I did a dialogue class, and I actually compared the dialogue in the upcoming scene to the dialogue in the movie. And usually people like the book better, but I actually think in this case the movie does a better job with the dialogue, because he gets really angry in the in the book when she starts asking about leaving his mother. But in this it's more subdued. You could still see a change in his demeanor, but it's not as outrageous as it was in the original book.
I think the scene where they sit down and talk is probably the high watermark for the film for me.
Yeah, it's a great dialogue scene.
And he's very ambivalent here. He's like, yeah, I want to come in. No, maybe maybe not. You just kind of feel it from looking at him.
Yeah, well, mother's watching.
Or is she?
And look, she smiles. Look at that. She's. All right, that's where we learn about his hobby. I can't imagine what audiences were expecting. I mean, if they'd read the book, they would know. And I imagine if this book was a bestseller, this was written by Robert Bloch, who actually, I believe, got his start in the pulps around the same time as Robert E. Howard and Lovecraft, though he was younger than they
Really?
were. I think he
Huh.
wrote into Weird Tales complaining about the Conan story, saying it's the same thing every issue. He fights some horrible monster and rescues the dame or something. You know?
That's what it's all about. That's what my
I know.
life is
I
like.
like that myself.
Every day a new monster.
Yes. But Robert Bloch, I think, moved away from the regular horror and he started writing more suspense type stuff. But
he just looks nervous.
he looks like a guy that doesn't talk to women that much and probably doesn't talk to people that much in general. You know, he's probably he comes off as this sheltered guy that the mother kept away from the world. You know, like he couldn't make friends in school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people stuff dogs and cats. I can't do that. One thing that I do like about Norman Bates, though, the character, though, is that he's still, even though the mother, the personality of the mother is worse. He's a bad man himself too. You know, I mean, he's still covering up. He's not going to the police or anything. You know, when these things occur. And I don't know if other murders have happened. I'm trying to remember in the book if other murders had happened before this.
They said in the film at the end that they had 2 missing person cases that were unsolved.
Yeah, so I'm thinking he was probably involved in those too. Yeah, or yeah.
And the TV show, when did he start killing people?
Oh,
Did they just start that right away? Or
out before the show happens, his father died under mysterious circumstances.
Okay.
And the TV show, spoilers, anyone listening, and he would end up having blackouts on the show when he would do the murders, and eventually I think the mother personality developed out of him doing those because the mother is around for a good majority of the series, you know. And the neat thing about Bates Motel, I do think it kind of lost something in the final season, though. But the neat thing about Bates Motel is that even though you have all this stuff going on with Norman Bates, there's other creepy stuff going on in the town besides that. You know, the whole thing reminded me of like the world of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, that TV show with all the disturbed characters. So maybe you're not running into a pure psychopath like Norman Bates, but you're running into like deranged drug dealers or slave traders and other things going on in this town, I guess in Oregon or something, you know. And the police sheriff is corrupt. But in some ways he's just trying to maintain order in the town, but if that means working with criminals, he'll do it. And I think that's how he sees it. And it's funny, the actor they picked to play the sheriff has a similar look to Anthony Perkins too, on the Bates Motel show.
We think about the framing of that with the owl right there.
Yeah, it's
because that's a bird of prey.
Oh, good point.
And that's with that. If owl's going down and get something, that's what it's going to look like. I just wonder if that was intentional on Alfred Hitchcock's part.
He's a master filmmaker. I'm sure a lot of this stuff is intentional.
Because before it was framed against the other wall.
Interesting. What kind of sandwich is she eating?
Not a very big one.
I keep thinking it's peanut butter, but I don't know.
So is that a nervous smile on his part?
Yes. Oh, my word. Except you.
That's a disturbing line.
There's a lot of disturbing lines, and why don't you go away to a private island? Okay, wait a minute. We're getting to the point.
I think she's being sincere. She's having like a sincere conversation. Like, just leave your mother. Put your mother in a home.
I think she doesn't have any animosity toward him. I think she's thinking this guy should have a life. I don't think she's thinking he's nuts or anything. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is different from the scene. This is the point of dialogue in the book where he gets angry. He actually gets angry in the book, whereas this, it's more subdued. It's still disturbing what he's saying, but it's more subdued.
He seems like a boiling pot of water to me right here. It's like it's getting ready to boil over, but it's not. Those eyes right here. Lean forward.
Yeah, okay,
Institution.
I'm sorry. This was the point in the book where he gets
the music cues up.
People always call him madhouse someplace, don't they?
Put her in someplace.
I wish I had my notes from that class. I could read you the dialogue from the book. It's a bit different, but he actually does go into a bit of a rage at this point in the book, but it's more subdued here. Cool eyes studying you. And he's more intense here than he's been talking since, but
yeah. Now he's getting kind of scared. And the music, it's not overbearing, but it's got dread behind it.
I keep thinking I got a ton of notes on this thing. Let me see. Yeah, the something here is known as the Hitchcock chord. I think that might be coming up. But they said Hitchcock would always leave the music open to Bernard Herrmann. Okay. I guess he trusted his composer to do what was necessary.
Except for Torn Curtain.
Well, I know I'm saying this, but then I read later on, yeah. But he originally wanted something more like a jazzy bebops kind of score, And Bernard Herrmann said, "I'm not doing that." I think I know where Hitchcock was coming from. He figured we can't afford the full orchestra, do something more jazzy. But let me see.
So you think right here she just kind of made up her mind. I made a mistake. I'm going to take the money back.
Oh, exactly.
So I guess in this sense, she becomes a tragic character.
Yeah, I think so. I think she realized she made a mistake. She shouldn't have done this. I think she's going to turn herself in. Hopefully, maybe the judge will be lenient on her. I don't know. She gives the money back. She'll probably lose her job, obviously, but maybe I don't know. She might get some kind of charge, but I think she realized what I did was wrong. I need to go back, okay, and just settle this and make this right. And that does make her more sympathetic, I think.
And the movie slowly is changing from her movie to his movie.
Yeah. Look at this. Yeah, he eats candy a lot too. I'm trying to remember what it was. What kind of candy? Is it candy corn he's eating?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
He's always munching on candy. I mean, I think that's another example of maybe
childlike quality.
Yeah, Arrested Development, probably. Yeah. Of course, you're talking to the guy that still buys NES cartridges. So.
Oh, you watch these on an Xbox? Is that right?
I'm watching this on an Xbox right now, the Xbox One S, the cheaper model, and I have earbuds plugged into the Xbox controller so I can hear the movie, and I have the headphones over it.
Does it work on Wi-Fi or?
What do you mean?
Does it take Wi-Fi headphones or?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it just has a normal headphone jack.
Okay.
Yeah. You can put any pair of earbuds in there. I mean, maybe you can hook something fancier into it. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine it's probably state of the art because they want you buying those headsets. But So he's looked through that peephole before, right?
Yeah. You get plucking on the strings here, which we haven't had before. I mean, up to this point. The cinematography there with the clouds and the moonlight, that's priceless.
Yeah, I mean, I really like black and white movies that are in this aspect ratio. We didn't get a ton of them because, of course, a lot of the black and white movies were shot in what we now call full frame, but the 1:3:3 ratio. But
yeah,
I do like this matted look. I know Professor did Kiss Me Deadly, which is in the same aspect ratio, black and white.
They said this is 1.85, but it was filmed in like 1.33. But
no.
I saw conflicting reports, but to me it looks legit 1.85.
Oh, I've always seen it this way. No, I don't think it was shot in the other way. I know that I know Invasion of the Body Snatchers was a bit of a disaster because they shot at 1.85, and I think they made them stretch it out to scope. After they were done filming it, and people want that original version. I don't know if it's available anywhere.
Okay, coming up is the first time ever in movie history you will see this happen. Right here, right there.
The toilet?
First time, yes, ever in motion picture history. The first commode flushing.
Well,
ever.
I figure you can get away with it because something worse is about to happen, right? And this is interesting. Hitchcock originally did not want music in this scene.
Can you imagine that? No music?
And it's interesting because on the NPR thing, they play the scene without the music. And the one observer made a point that without the music, you're an outsider to this scene. But with the music, you're feeling kind of what Janet Lee's character is feeling. Okay. You actually, the music puts you more in her shoes, I think. Yeah, you're feeling what the character feels. Oh, this is
online. I saw Bernard Herrmann's actual score notes for this that he wrote out.
Yeah,
and you've got like the lines of music, and it kind of goes dot 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 all the way down, just to mimic the stabbing, slashing.
Oh my goodness!
But they really don't show anything.
They don't show anything, and I've made. You're thinking you're seeing stuff though that's not there, it's and just the slow. I mean, I've made the argument in Texas Chainsaw Massacre you don't see a ton, but people fill in those gaps,
And sometimes that's worse.
In some ways, it is worse. The human imagination can put stuff in there that you don't see. And look at this final thing, the pulling of the shower curtain. There was often an urban legend going around that he used cold water on her to make her scream louder, but that's not true. In fact, Janet Leigh said when they were filming the scene, they had stuff covering her, her more private areas, right? But they said that the heat of the shower was making the stuff peel off. It was a real pain to work with,
But 1960, that's a pretty racy scene.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's still jarring today. I mean, this is. Yeah, Hitchcock originally he said he didn't want music for the shower scene, and then he went to Bernard Herrmann and says it's not working without music, and then Bernard Herrmann says, "Well, I wrote this theme for it," and he said, "Oh, good." And he says, "But you told me not to write music for this scene." And then Hitchcock said that was an improper suggestion. Okay,
yeah.
That was what he said. So, yeah, I got that from the NPR story. That was pretty good.
He changed his clothes pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I keep wondering what we'd like to go into this movie without having ever seen it. Okay.
It would be very difficult because it's just a culture,
It's just been so
part of the culture
spoiled.
identity.
I mean,
Yeah.
it got spoiled for me, and this was before the days of the internet. It's just, yeah.
I remember one
Oh,
of the Police Academy movies had someone was taking a shower and Bobcat Goldthwait or whatever his name is was coming up with a shampoo bottle and they were playing the Psycho theme. He's like, "Do you need some conditioner?" And it's yeah.
oh, that's bad.
the, the scene has been spoofed so many times.
They did.
But
They did. Yeah, yeah. Crispy was mentioning the Looney Tunes Back in Action parody.
there's a Looney Tunes parody of this.
Yeah, where Bugs Bunny and the Janet Leigh Rowe. I saw Phantom of the Paradise has a wonderful parody of this scene where the guy is taking the shower, and the Phantom of the Paradise, so I guess it's like the Phantom of the Opera in this movie, goes up to him, but instead of a knife, he has a plunger and shoves the plunger in his mouth. And gives him a warning instead of that. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's just. Melissa Harris says, "Rewatch Terror in the Isles. It's got clips from Hitchcock films." I think I've seen that. Oh yeah, Melissa Harris. Fun fact: Norm Bates and Leatherface are based on a real serial killer. Yeah, Ed Gein, who, frankly, uh, there's always a wide space between based on though, and based on and real, but based on and true. So I have a question. Whenever you watch one of these movies where the guy is covering up the murder, do you ever empathize with him and think of how he's going to get away with it?
I feel sorry for him right now because I don't know that he did this. I still think that his mother did this. And
he's covering up for her. All right.
Yeah, and that's a tough spot to be in. I'm not saying I would do it. I'd be like, hey, mom, we just need to make a phone call to an attorney. A good one.
Yeah. Because it's like it's probably tougher to get away with murder nowadays than it ever was than he even was in the past.
Yeah. I was watching this and I'm like, man, Clorox it. CSI is going to come in and
yeah. I mean, I knew a guy that used to be a prosecuting DA, and he was saying that a lot of stuff is easy now because of all the surveillance technology we have now.
Oh yeah.
You can catch guys anywhere with the cameras and whatnot. It's ridiculous. So
all you gotta do is pick the crime scene and work your way backwards. That's all you gotta do. There's cameras.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
So he's mopping it all up. I keep wondering if there have been other murders in this room.
I think probably so.
I'm just wondering. I mean, it's. Unless there's Bates Motel sucks. It ruined Norman and killed him off. What a wasted character. Yeah, it wasn't perfect. I was rolling with it the first few seasons, but I think it kind of jumped the shark the final season when it did that when they tried redoing this story. I think maybe they shouldn't have tried redoing this story. They just should have maybe ended it with him just running the hotel, maybe, and not bothered going there. I think they had Rihanna in the Janet Leigh Rowe.
Huh?
And it just didn't work. And I even get why they cast her. They probably wanted someone glamorous, so they had to go to pop music rather than modern Hollywood in some respects. But the acting was too stiff, I think, on her part. All right. So he's going to submerge the car now, right?
Yeah. It's like the cellos are trying to build, but they don't ever quite climax.
Now this is a Ford, right?
Yeah, with a huge trunk.
Trying to think if Ford paid money to have their cars in Hitchcock pictures, and that was all he ever used. But I could be wrong on that.
I wonder why they stopped the music right here.
Melissa, do Herschel Gordon Lewis, Godfather of Gord films. I I I we're not. I actually, Melissa, I watched Blood Feast for the first time recently. I don't think we're ever doing that movie because the score channel, and the score to that movie's terrible.
And I am not a slasher person.
No, you're not gonna like this one either. No,
I love Fan Man, but I don't understand his fascination with slasher films.
I don't love slasher movies, but I still watch them because I like horror as a genre. It's my least favorite subgenre of horror is slasher movies. But there have been some good ones. I'm a big fan of the Funhouse. The Funhouse is a good one. The Funhouse actually parodies the shower scene in this as well. It has the sister's kid brother in the first scene, does the stabbing thing, and like she takes off his mask, and it's her little brother trying to stab her in the shower. But that's more the director paying homage to all the movies he loves, like the kid's wearing a Frankenstein mask at some point. He loved the original, Boris Karloff Frankenstein. And that actually has a pretty good score to it, too. But they actually do say that this movie kind of inspired a lot of future scores for slasher movies. I think I was reading something.
This inspired a whole lot. This is credited with inspiring the minimalistic move in classical music.
Mm.
Philip Glass, John Adams, and one other guy, I forget his name. Huge back in the 90s. They all claim homage to Psycho.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. You ever hear the Friday the 13th score?
Does it have a film score?
It does. Henry Mancini. It's not a terrible score, but I think Mancini got tired of doing it movie after movie, so I think he already. I just kept reusing it over and over again because he got sick of doing those movies. But I like what Betsy Schwarm of Britannica.com. I'm assuming that's Encyclopedia Britannica. It's anxious, repetitive themes punctuated by shocking cues at moments of violence became the prototype for music in the emerging slasher genre of horror films. That's what she says. Which maybe, yes. Yeah. See, because horror movies. Oh, go ahead.
Saying bye-bye money. He just threw it out.
Yeah, I mean...
But that would be the difference between a capital case and a non-capital case. So right. I guess it's good that he did.
Yeah, I'm sure the judge will take that into consideration. Right? Yeah. I have to say, well, that's what springs forth the investigation, because you have her sister looking for her, but then you also have the private detective that was hired by the agency to find that money.
Is this a tar pit?
I'm wondering. It's a swamp of some kind. I think it's just a swamp. I think that's in the remake. I think it was just a swamp. I don't think it's a tar pit because they're able to pull it out at the end, right?
So I don't think they show it coming out.
I don't remember now because I know I saw the remake a while ago too, but I think it's just a disgusting swamp. And I love this part. He's starting to wait a minute, see it sinking. I keep thinking this has been imitated afterwards too. The whole like it's not sinking. I love how it just stops.
Well, it'll keep going. Don't worry. I would have had music here.
I think maybe they didn't want to overshadow the sound effects of it getting swamped up.
It does feel colder without any music.
Yeah. All right, so they do have him having the business, so I do think that's from the book too.
Yeah.
Check out the chat here.
And see, to me, I just feel like this becomes an entirely different movie from here on out. Like, it could be the sequel.
Yeah, Herschel Gordon Lewis did introduce Gore to horror films. He's a horror legend in his own right. Oh, she mentioned the woke SJW remake of the shower scene in the remake of in the Bates Motel show. They did it so lame. It was Sam Loomis that gets stabbed in the shower instead of her. It's just dumb. I figured I don't know if it was because of SJW reasons or they're just trying to be clever, but it didn't work. And it was sad because up until that point, the series was more hit than miss, I thought. I mean, some people may argue differently, but yeah, it's just.
Now, in Psycho 2, spoiler warning to everyone, in Psycho 2, her sister's doing the killing, right?
No. What's
No?
going on? I don't think Oh, maybe. I'm trying to. No, that's not what happens in Psycho 2. Well, of course, we're spoiling anyone who hasn't seen Psycho 2. They're trying to make Norman think he's crazy or that he's still hearing his mother and stuff. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's what her scheme is there. Someone else is doing the murders, but it's not Norman Bates, but it's not the sister either, as I recall.
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil anything else if you ever do get around to watching it.
Because I listened to Oliver Harper's review of Psycho 2. He's this British guy that reviews movies and does a really good job. And I was just like, wow, this sounds really interesting. And I was like, wow, you completely spoiled it, but I'm still like way interested in seeing this.
I would check them out someday if you like this movie. I mean, like I said, treat them as apocrypha, like a what if story, but they're not bad in their own right. I mean, nothing's going to come. I mean, it's Hitchcock. Who's going to come close to Hitchcock? But it did a decent job for what it was. That's what I think. And I even like Psycho 3 all right, too. One of the things that was going on in the 80s, I think Brian De Palma, they argued, oh, you're just being a Hitchcock knockoff. But there were directors trying to kind of bring the Hitchcock style of suspense movie back. There's some really good Brian De Palma movies like Dress to Kill and
what about The Fury?
That's more of a supernatural thing, right? That's like a telepathy sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that.
John Williams scored The Fury, and the criticism he got was they said it sounded like he was trying to be Bernard Herrmann, but he admitted he was trying to make a homage to Bernard Herrmann. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful film score. Either way, I don't care who he's trying to sound like.
I need to rewatch the Fury. I do remember though. What was it? Not Jerry Goldsmith, the other composer. He did the score for Titanic.
James Horner.
Yeah, James Horner argued with Star Trek, with Battle Beyond the Stars. He says, "I'm just trying to rip off Jerry Goldsmith." That's what he said. I think he said that. I think Jerry Goldsmith was a big influence on him, and it's funny. He's the one that ended up doing the later Star Trek movies.
Yeah, 2 and 3, which have probably the best scores, in my opinion.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, motion picture to me is its own thing.
Yeah, I like the motion picture score, but I don't like that movie as much. And I have the scores to 2 and 3. I got those collector's editions when they came out finally. Let me find out here. Trying to look at the cast. Yeah, Vera Miles. What was she supposed to be cast in? I think it was Vertigo.
And she got pregnant.
Yes. And I don't know if Hitchcock was pleased about that, so he ended up casting
He was
her.
not pleased with that.
But then he ended up recasting her in this as the sister, so that was interesting. and that's Martin Balsam. And he shows up in movies. I keep thinking, was he in The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3?
With Denzel Washington?
No, the original.
What do you mean? That was the original.
No, the one with Denzel was the remake. You know this, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, the Denzel, I actually like the Denzel. I actually think that's an example of a decent remake, actually, the one with Denzel Washington. Because it was different enough, and I didn't mind that remake. That was an okay remake, the remake they have Denzel Washington, but and John Travolta as the bad guy. I will say the version of this scene in the remake with William H. Macy is also rather good as well.
He's a fine character actor.
Yeah, I mean, because you remember in Fargo, it's almost like the reverse of Fargo. Because in Fargo, the lady cop is trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, and he keeps getting flustered. It's like the opposite, though. He's getting the Vince Vaughn, the Norman Bates character, flustered.
Speaking of Fargo, I saw a trailer for a werewolf movie. It looks kind of like Fargo crossed with a werewolf movie.
Oh, really? That might be good.
It's a new movie. It's just coming out. I'll look it up and send you the trailer on Messenger.
Yeah, send it.
Because I don't like werewolves and I don't like horror movies, but it looked interesting.
I don't know. I like this scene because we're watching Norman Bates kind of just. There's nobody.
And he could have very easily just torn the page out that night.
He wasn't thinking ahead, and he probably didn't expect anyone to come looking for her either. Okay, but he didn't know anything about the stolen money. Maybe if he had noticed there was stolen money there, maybe he would have thought, But it's like. And of course, he's thinking Norman made a deal with her. Maybe she paid him off, to keep quiet.
Yeah.
And it's like he knows. So he knows he's suspicious, and he knows he's hiding something. They just each of them don't know what it's about. That's what I think.
And if he just let it go, he would have lived.
Yeah, but he's being paid. They want the money. Okay. That Texan guy is probably putting pressure.
Probably so.
Oh, Psycho 2, Norman.
Mm-hmm. He did say, "I don't carry more than what I can't stand to lose." I'm like, okay.
Oh, in the Mad Magazine parody of Murder, She Wrote, Norman Bates is the killer. That's what Chris P says. Okay. I'd like to track down some old Mad magazines. I want their Death Wish issue really bad.
Do they still make Mad Magazine?
Nope. Mad Magazine's done. I was seeing a little while ago because the library workup was getting it, and they would say, with 60% new content. And I'm like, what do you mean 60%? Should it all be new content? And the guy, oh no, Mad Magazine's done. I think it might be an example of one of these get woke, go broke sort of dealies, I'm thinking. But yeah, Mad Magazine disappeared. I don't even know if it's still being printed. It's being printed, it's older, it's just repeated strips. They're not having anything new. Yes, Psycho 2 Norman goes full WWE SmackDown and gives someone a super headache with a shovel. Yes, well, that's what Melissa says. Come on, Melissa. We don't want to spoil Psycho 2 for people. Of course, you've already been spoiled on it, haven't you?
Yeah, Melissa, I don't think he intentionally threw the money out. He just grabbed the newspaper.
Oh, no, he didn't know it was there.
Up. Yeah.
Like I said, he's...
But yeah, the money is the sticking point for the three other characters in the movie, because they think, well, he took it so he can start a new life, or he got paid off to cover up.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, yeah, or maybe, or he could have done foul play for the money. There's that too, but I think he's thinking that she probably charmed her because she's a very pretty woman, and oh, here we go. He's gonna ask about the house. That's my mother. Okay. He keeps saying no one's. And oh wait, except for that, it's like. Oh look, here we go. She might have fooled me, but she didn't fool my mother. Okay. Because he's basically saying what we call nowadays to be a simp, right? That's what he's thinking he is. Pretty woman wanting you to hide the money, and it's. All right, so now he's kicking him out. He's not police, so he actually has no right to go looking around, right? I mean, he's a private detective, so.
Yeah, I mean, he can't get a warrant or anything.
Yeah, I mean, he could maybe he could get the police to search the place. I don't know, but right now. Now, I'm wondering why the police aren't investigating at this point. Is that there's not enough evidence, or if they just wanted to keep it quiet?
They say in the film they're just trying to keep it quiet. They just want the money back, and let bygones be bygones.
It might be easier to get her to get the money back if they don't threaten police, right? And that might be it.
I mean, if you took $350K from me, and I'd be like, hey, look, give me back the money, I never see you again, that's fine.
And I would ask, can I still get a letter of recommendation?
Sure. If you're that ballsy, I'll write you a letter. He seems like a pretty straight up kind of guy.
Yeah, I will say this: he's not. I don't find him like particularly sleazy. I think he's, and he actually calls them to let them know because they're worried about the sister anyway. So that's probably one of the smart things he does here, considering the fact that he's not going to be long for this world soon.
Yeah. And so the remake is just shot for shot the same movie?
Kind of. I remember this scene when William H. Macy was calling. It was in the daylight for some reason. I seem to recall that. It wasn't at night, but it's odd seeing Vince Vaughn in that movie. I mean, I think Vince Vaughn we typically see him do comedies, but I think he can do suspense type movies too if he wanted to, but I don't know. Remake is just odd. We're probably talking too much about oh, here we go. I wonder if the remake would have been shot in black and white if I would have had a visceral reaction to it. That could be part of it too. I don't know.
I was interested in it because it had Julianne Moore. I've always had a crush on her.
She's in it. She plays the sister. And Anne Heche plays the what's her name? Marion Crane. Yeah, but Anne Heche was an odd pick. Maybe because she has short blonde hair. That's probably why they went with her.
If you're an actor, you can have whatever hair you want.
That's true. Actually, I will say this. The Psycho remake was made at a time where they didn't have to worry too much about modern technology interrupting the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think Julianne Moore has like a Walkman in it. But that's about the only piece of modern technology you see in the entire movie. And I think in the '90s you could still get away with not showing too much intrusive modern technology. That would have been different from what we saw here. He's looking in the safe. I'm sorry, this house is creepy as all get out as far as I'm concerned.
What other instruments do you think they could have had here aside from the strings? Oboe, English horn,
Maybe.
clarinet,
Clarinet, maybe.
flute.
Yeah, maybe flute type instruments I could see. I don't know what Hitchcock was thinking with a jazzy bebop soundtrack, though.
What about the piano on the low register?
No.
No, too ominous, you think, or just too heavy?
I don't know what it was about a piano. And don't get me wrong, I've had there's a lovely horror movie I appreciate called Kiss of the Vampire, and it's a Hammer horror movie, and it actually has a piano piece called what the heck was it called? Is it Vampire Requiem? I'll let you know when it comes to mind. Okay, here we go.
I think this is probably a more unsettling piece of music aside from the shower scene.
Yeah. I mean, this is almost as this is drawing in a different way, but this kind of.
And the camera focusing here on him and the way the carpet is in the background.
And this is how dangerous, it is. I mean, because it's one thing when you're naked in the shower. I mean, you're in a very vulnerable position, but this is a detective. And oh.
We get the shower music, just shorter.
Yep.
This film had a 6.5-minute trailer before it came out.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah. 6.5 minutes.
It's a lot of fun. It's just Hitchcock walking around. Oh, now this painting here, let's move along. Like he was teasing. The whole trailer is one big tease. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I wonder if the teaser trailer comes from this movie. Okay, the expression, because it's just Hitchcock walking around, and you don't really learn anything about the movie except that it's you're intrigued.
Something happened.
Yeah, I mean he does entice you though.
He said in the trailer though that guy broke his back when he hit the bottom of the stairs, and I can kind of see that.
Yeah. Well, the actor didn't, just the character, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, no actors were harmed in the filming of this movie.
I remember the title of the track, Vampire Rhapsody. That's what it was called. Okay, from Kiss of the Vampire, and it's all piano music, but it works. It works well in that context. So of course, you can use piano music. I mean, there are a lot of creepy piano themes. Moonlit Sonata, that's a creepy piano theme. I don't see piano for this though. I don't know why. I'm sure people have done piano versions of this music. I love that last name, Arbogast. They say if you're having trouble creating a character name, you open the phone book, you randomly stick your finger down to the first name, then you randomly flip over the white pages again and, stick your finger down to the last name. If you need a quick character name.
The lighting here is so much darker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anything? I mean, with taking Psycho 2 out of the picture, Do you think anything happened between these two people after the events of this film?
It's Hollywood, so I would say yes. Okay. Uh, and like I said, you can treat Psycho 2 as a what if, okay? Because I don't necessarily, because of course Hitchcock wasn't involved or anything like that. So I don't see it necessarily as what happened, but like what could have happened. But I think I don't know. I wonder what happens in the book. Actually, that might clear things up.
To me, it looks like something could happen between them, just the way they interact.
Oh, here we go. They're questioning the mother.
And, you know, these were the days where you could just go to the sheriff's house and talk to him.
Yeah. Actually, the sheriff character in the Psycho sequels is funny because he's like the only one on Norman's side. You know, because of course the townspeople are not liking him. You know, like he's saying, okay, he's been. You know what it is? I think the sheriff says he's been rehabilitated. Leave him alone. Okay.
Well, that's a legit standpoint.
And that's a legit standpoint. I mean, we should believe it's not a bad thing to think that criminals can be reformed, and maybe they can. You know, I mean, that was always a big thing. Oh, what is this? Oh, Marvel shut down the Spider-Man newspaper strips. That's too bad.
They'll probably be shutting a lot down, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it.
That might be what we talk about in study hall. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to talk about what's going on over at Marvel. It's a very nice looking movie. It has to be 35 millimeter at least. And they say that 35 millimeter movies can be blown up to 4K or close to 4K. You know, like they can mask them in almost 4K. Not quite. I think it's like 3.7 something, but they can get it up there. But they actually said a lot of the Marvel movies they made recently can't be, at least the early Marvel movies, because the CG they used in it was only 2K. It can't be unless they were to redo the effects all over again for 4K, which they probably won't do. You know.
I'm watching this on my tablet, and I downloaded the standard definition. I think the picture quality is fine.
Oh yeah. Oh, I am going to say one thing that Hitchcock aficionados, they got angry at one of the re-releases of this because it didn't include the mono track. And I think later on they started including the mono tracks with all the Hitchcock releases because these originally had mono sound, and I think they didn't like the fact that they were remastering them for 5.1. They wanted the original. Some film aficionados want that original mono soundtrack. So. And to be fair, I think a lot of studios are better about that nowadays. Like you do get mono, like I have the mono track playing right now, but they do include, as you know, you can either do the original sound or you could do the remastered. You know, they give you a choice. You know.
So, it's your first time watching this. Do you think her death was fake, or do you think Norman's just telling lies?
If it was the first time, I'm thinking something is not right with this story. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. But of course, I'm even wondering when this came out, if the whole split personality thing was widely known. You know, people with multiple personality disorder.
I think a lot of people found this film very unnerving.
Yeah, I think there was a rule too. You couldn't walk into the theater late. Like that was a stipulation Hitchcock had. You couldn't walk into the theater after the movie started playing. I don't know how many theaters actually abided by that rule, but that was like a thing.
His whole demeanor is very different now from what it was at the start.
Yeah. Well, he is a character into himself, and I've argued that Norman Bates is still a criminal. He's still a bad guy.
What if this is the real Norman Bates and all the other people are just personas he puts on to throw people off?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, sorry. I love this. I will not hide in the fruit cellar. I think we're also thinking that could the death have been faked, but again, how would that have been? How would they have gotten away with that? The sheriff just told them they saw the body, right? I mean, so.
It's just creepy.
I can walk away. All right, are they at church? Who are they going to talk to? Let me see. Everyone was so clean cut back then, huh?
Yeah, if only people were still like that.
I will say this: jazzy scores can work in suspense movies because a lot of the those Italian giallo movies I love, they do have more of a jazzy soundtracks to them.
But they're Italiano. They're jazzio by themselves.
Italian, yes. And Ennio Morricone wrote about half of them. If I'm saying his name right.
He wrote over 500 film scores.
Yeah, he was prolific. He wrote a ton of those things. He had a giallo period for a while. I think because after they stopped doing spaghetti westerns, they started doing the giallo movies over there.
Hello, Christy Allen. Thank you for dropping by. Hope you're enjoying the movie.
Cricket likes Psycho. Who's Cricket?
It's my little dog. One of my dogs.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, cool.
Hey.
All right. I'm trying to see if anything else written on the score, though. What's your favorite Bernard Herrmann score?
I haven't listened to that much of Bernard Herrmann, so I would probably go with Psycho.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it did make the NPR list of the top 100 American music of all time, and it was a film soundtrack. I love his other Hitchcock scores. I love North by Northwest. One of the DVDs of North by Northwest had an isolated film score on it too. You could actually watch the movie with just the score. And I do love it when they put they don't do that on DVD enough, as far as I'm concerned. They should put the isolated score on tracks on DVD.
They don't like to do it because people will pirate it.
Yeah, they want you to go out and buy the soundtrack probably, but I do like it when they do it. But Bernard Herrmann, he also did the score to Taxi Driver.
He did the Day the Earth Stood Still. I think that's probably my favorite. I forgot he did that.
I need to watch The Day the Earth Stood Still. I do have it in my collection. I just haven't watched it.
It's got Keanu Reeves in it, man.
No, you're
I know. I'm being funny.
Being a jokester tonight. Yes, because
They keep remaking everything.
They keep remaking everything, and I worry sometimes that's all. And some remakes are good. You know, the reason people turn on remakes isn't because the idea of remaking a film is a bad idea. Because I mean, Maltese Falcon is a famous movie, but that was the third version of that movie that was made. Okay, you can make a good remake. It's just the fact that a lot of the remakes they make are just bad. Okay. And this one can't be remade. You can't really remake it. The only one who can remake Hitchcock is Hitchcock himself. Okay.
What about Spielberg?
I don't know. See, I like Steven Spielberg. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it when his sentimentality slips into movies. It happens sometimes. Like the last movie I saw of his, Bridge of Spies, I thought that was pretty good. I did like that one. I would think even Scorsese might be a better pick to do a suspense. I think Scorsese did the remake of Cape Fear, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Okay, I don't know who did the original of that. I'm trying to remember now, but I think that was odd because he did reuse the same score.
Yeah.
For his remake. I'm not sure who did the score to Cape Fear, but
I think Bernard Herrmann did Cape Fear.
Oh, maybe. Okay, there you go.
Check the handy dandy tablet.
Bernard Herrmann did a ton of scoring. He did Citizen Kane.
He did.
Yes, and he did The War of the Worlds, and I think The War of the Worlds they're referring to, was it the movie or was it the Mercury Theater radio broadcast for War of the Worlds that he did the score to?
Radio broadcast.
Yeah.
Leif Erikson or something like that did the movie.
Oh, okay. People always have different periods of Hitchcock. That like some like his earlier movies, some like his later movies.
Bernard Herrmann did do Cape Fear. Yeah.
Okay, I tend to fall into the I like them all, but I tend to fall into the later movie camp because I don't know, I do like the spectacle. And this is a smaller picture than what he was doing prior. Like he was doing big movies like North by Northwest and Vertigo. In fact, did Vertigo come out before this? And wasn't it considered kind of a failure? So I think they had to go smaller on the next picture. I could be wrong though.
Vertigo came out second. This was made for $1 million, which was kind of low budget.
Yeah, for back. Yeah. The thing I do like about horror movies is though they tend to do a lot with a small budget a lot of the time. A lot of birds.
Vertigo came out in 58, North by Northwest 59, Psycho 60, Bird 63.
Okay.
Cricket, come here. Give me 1 second. Cricket needs to go outside. I'll be right back.
Sure. I'll check on the chat.
Go.
Oh, let me refresh the chat. Blumhouse's Miss Harris. Blumhouse's garbage. They ruined The Invisible Man and Halloween and The Craft. They plan to make woke remakes of Firestarter, Bride of Frankenstein, and more. Well, that may be. I think there was a Blumhouse movie I liked, though. It was the I think it was Don't Breathe. I think I did like that one. That's the one with the blind man, I think, in it. But yeah, do a rewatch of Sam Raimi's Win the Woods. I actually need to see that, the Evil Dead prequel, Melissa Harris.
See, I like their interaction better than his interaction with his sister. They just feel more like a couple to me.
Well, maybe they'll get together. I think he deliberately doesn't glam her up, though, the sister.
Maybe that's why I like her more than her sister.
Yeah, he has her in plain clothes, basically. It's So
I
of
do
course,
like that swing coat she's got. That's a nice coat.
mm-hmm. So of course, this motel got doomed, right, because of the way the highway was drawn out. I think.
Yeah.
I'll say this: there's something to be said about terror in the daytime versus at night.
Yeah.
What is that statue? Is that like a cherub or something?
Yeah, that's a chair. See, the music stops as soon as she opens the door.
I swear the door shutting reminds me of those old Resident Evil games when the door would shut when you go into a new room.
Do you know Bernard Herrmann only got one Academy Award his entire career?
What for?
The Devil and Daniel Webster.
The Devil and Daniel Webster.
Yeah.
Who was in that?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't even remember. I don't think I've ever seen that. Hold on.
It's way old. It's older than this.
That happens. I mean, did Hitchcock ever get a Best Director?
No.
I don't think he did.
Are you sure? I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't think he did get Best Director. He might have gotten Best Director nomination, but he never got the award. They took forever with Scorsese.
Because I remember back before Steven Spielberg got it for Schindler's List, they said that he'll just be like Hitchcock and never get an Academy Award.
Yeah, I think they finally gave it to him for a Schindler's List, but and they gave it to Scorsese for The Departed. Departed's a good movie. I don't think it's his best, but it's a good movie. I don't know if I've ever seen a Scorsese movie I didn't like, but it was just odd that they picked that one. And I think sometimes they figure we're going to have to give this someone to eventually.
He was nominated Best Director for Psycho, Rear Window, and Spellbound, but no wins.
Wow. I'll say this, so that might say something for the competition back then, though.
Well, again, Psycho didn't get Best Original Film Score, but Exodus did. So I need
to find out what Exodus is now. This is going to be
Ernest Gold. I'm gonna look that up on the eBay right now.
It sounds like a Western. Let me find out. Oh, no, war film. Okay.
Really? I was thinking biblical epic.
Oh, actually, that's interesting. It's a 1960 American epic film on the founding of the modern state of Israel. That might be interesting. Directed by Otto Preminger. Okay, well, that might be interesting to watch, actually. That's the thing about movies. You ever get tired of new Hollywood? Just go back and watch movies you haven't seen, because they'll probably
There's so much. You will never be able to watch all of it.
Yeah, I was mentioning that, I think, to on the Professor Geek stream last night, or maybe afterwards. I said there are so many movies that you'll never run out, especially when you take foreign films into consideration too. This becomes even larger.
I mean, and it's like comic books. I've talked to Fan Man before. I'm like, there's so much stuff from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. I will never get it all read. Never.
That's what frustrated.
I don't need new stuff.
Yeah, it's what frustrated Richard Donner about the Superman movies. He was trying to tell them, guys, we have endless material to pick from. Okay, in these comic books, we could make a Superman movie every 2 years, like they do the James Bond movies. That's what he said. Everyone kept trying to copy the James Bond format. It never worked. Oliver Stone wanted the Conan the Barbarian movies. He figured they could do another one of those every 2 years too.
Yeah, please. I wish they had every 3 years.
Yeah, and they just they just didn't see it as something they would do that long. Oh, here we go. Oh, now that guy looks physically stronger than Norman too.
He does.
Yeah,
He looked pretty wayfish.
Yeah, Norman looks like he's fresh out of like a couple years out of high school. That's what he seems like to me. Like old enough to be running the thing by himself, like legally an adult, but not. Don't go in the basement. Ah, here's the big reveal that they spoiled on that Leonard Nimoy, the Leonard Nimoy show about movies. They showed this scene on that episode. I got so angry. Actually, I didn't get angry when I was a kid. But as an adult now, I wish that he had spoiled it for me.
I mean, just from an academic standpoint, how long until a body just completely falls apart?
Here we go.
Here's the murder music again.
Get that knife out of his hand. I mean, they made a point on the show I thought was interesting. He did taxidermy on his mom's body like he did with the animals. So I don't know if that's what he did there, but he did a great job.
See, the thing with taxidermy, because I have some deers. I didn't kill them myself. I just bought them at antique stores.
Right.
But it's just the fur over styrofoam. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah.
And I suppose in the past they probably used something else.
Cool. I think they just used wood before, but I mean, I could be wrong. But
yeah, I like your setup with the Dr. Doom picture between them.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I like that. You were showing that to Al. You were asking which looks better. I liked what Hitchcock said about this scene. This is what he called a hat grabber. The movie's over. We don't need this stupid explanation scene at the end.
Yeah, I think today you could get by without it, but I think 1960 you needed the guy to break this down
because nobody knows what's going on. And like Hitchcock didn't like this scene in the movie. He said this is, like he said, he called it a hat grabber. Like you're grabbing your hat and leaving the theater. Back when men wore hats, I guess, yeah. I don't know why that stopped. I think fedoras became too expensive. I think
that and the height for cars got smaller, so it made them more difficult to wear.
Oh, interesting.
So people stopped wearing them as much.
Interesting.
And then JFK was the first president to not wear a hat, and all the young people wanted to be like JFK. So
yeah, because like the early Bond pictures, he wears a fedora.
Yeah,
like in the first one, it comes off eventually because he's about and even in the intro scene where he walks by with the bullet, with the gun barrel at the beginning of each movie, he was wearing fedora for several of those movies, and they finally stopped having him wear it. And that gun barrel scene before the pre-sequence starts. So it's the matricide that drove him mad.
Or is he just faking the entire thing to get sympathy from people?
Well,
maybe he really is just that depraved, and he's just a stone-blooded killer who's putting on an act.
Oh.
Which one makes you feel better at night?
No, but as you see in the end, the mother's still in there.
Or is she? Is it just an act?
I
think he probably is just crazy. But
yeah.
I see three personalities. He's got the scared shy Norman Bates that's eating the candy, and he's got the mama personality, and he's just got the stone cold killer one when he watches the things bubble down into that tar pit. His demeanor is different for all three.
Yes. I love the scene in one of the Psycho sequels where the one guy is I love the scene in one of the Psycho sequels where one of the where like some guy finds out about his mother and says, "You better start paying me, or everyone's going to find out about Mama's secret." And then he kills the guy and he says, "No one must know about her, what she's done." Oh, there's a word you don't hear much these days. Not exactly.
Not exactly a transvestite. Did you see Clint Eastwood's movie on J. Edgar Hoover?
No. Is that any good?
It's long.
I don't think I saw that.
It had its moments, but you know, all the stories about J. Edgar dressing up in women's clothing and everything. But in the movie, his mother was Judi Dench, and she was very controlling.
Oh, I see.
And when she died, he dressed up in one of her dresses in pearls and just broke down and cried. And felt kind of weird.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie. I've seen other. I want to see his latest. What was the name of that one? The one about the suspected bomber. Came out recently. Hold on. Anyway, though, I so highly recommend you check out Dirty Harry one of these days.
I will. I have to. I know. I watched Razor Fist reviews for all the Dirty Harry movies.
Oh yeah. You were mentioning that. Yes. Here we go.
This is eerie.
I'm telling you, she's still in there. This is how we know it's not an act.
So the body language, is this Norman or is this Mama?
This is Mama.
It's Mama talking, but is it Mama body language? Because that looks like sad Norman.
No, she's trying to throw off suspicion that it's her. They'll never suspect I'm in here. They'll see. He's evil. Okay. Yes. Okay.
There,
so I guess
there it is. Pulling out. Yeah.
They'll get the money back. That's all we care about. Okay.
40 G's, baby. 40 G's.
Yeah, Bernard Herrmann, though, we will be. I'm sure we'll revisit him some point in the future again.
Oh, you have to.
But he did a lot of television. So apparently there was a big stink when The Fugitive got released on DVD, and it was one of those music rights things, and they didn't include the Bernard Herrmann score with the episodes, and people got mad. You know.
Did he do the Fugitive TV show?
Yeah, he did. He did at least some of the music. Yeah, he did. He did music for that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, let me see. But yeah, there was a big stink over that because a lot of there was a big problem with TV series getting re-released. They would be missing music tracks and stuff on them because there was a lot of music issues with like a lot of older TV series where they didn't tie up the rights like they do now. So like if a song was playing in the episode, it wouldn't be there when it got released on DVD, and people got mad.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. He did 7 Hitchcock films. Trouble with Harry, Marine, Vertigo, North by Northwest, of course, Psycho, Man Who Knew Too Much, Wrong Man, The Birds, and then Torn Curtain, which was rejected.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that score now, and you said it was re-released, so that might be something to look into. I've never even seen Torn Curtain.
The score's on YouTube, but I'm just going to go ahead and buy the CD maybe at the end of the week.
What was the score? And they replaced it with more pop music or something, or
yeah.
Okay.
And then I think Hitchcock said it was a mistake after the fact, but they were good friends. I mean, it's just stupid things that people let ruin friendships. But Hitchcock never spoke to Bernard Herrmann after that day, and Bernard Herrmann wanted to reconcile, but Hitchcock was just apparently an ass about it.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I need to watch the Hitchcock. I need to watch that Hitchcock movie about the making of Psycho. Actually, I still need to see that. The one with Anthony Hopkins, I think, plays Hitchcock in that, right?
I think so.
All right. Well, cool. Anything else to add to this? I'm trying to look at my notes here, see if I missed anything.
Thank you, everyone who came by, and everyone who's watching sometime in the future. Live streams are always nice, but replays are just as good. Thank you for coming by. Hopefully you learned something. Leave a comment below.
Yeah, sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
What's coming up on the Professor Geek YouTube Entertainment Group?
Tomorrow night is
Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury.
Halloween Tree book club. Then Friday, the Fan Man. Is he going to
Fan Man tomorrow morning?
Oh, Fan Man tomorrow morning. Yeah, I think he is going to have a show tomorrow. Yeah. Second Cup Cafe. When is that? 11 o'clock?
Whenever he feels like it.
Yeah, and then he'll have something on Friday too. I believe it's going to be the is he gonna try for Dracula Prince of Darkness again? I think Al said he was gonna try. Yeah,
I think I heard that. Yeah,
that's a good Dracula movie. Do you get Turner? Do you get Turner Classic Movies at all?
I do not.
Okay, yeah, they're showing all those on there. So it's a good little Dracula movie. And I'm trying to think what else. Saturday rewatch with Troy Petrelli and Big Al. That's going to be
is it Hellraiser?
Hellraiser 2, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. And then I believe those movies are kind of funny. I'm sorry. I can't get into it. But I'm trying to think what else. And Sunday will be Study Hall. And
what do you think you'll be talking about this week?
Probably a lot of the changes going on at Marvel. I think there was Al put a story in the Professor Geek group today about they're going to be redoing Buck Rogers for the big screen, and I might do something on that because maybe that'll be good news for a change. Maybe they'll do a good Buck Rogers movie. Probably not, but
probably not.
We'll wait and see. Just make a good movie. Why is this so difficult? Just make a movie. Good night, Melissa. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, I wanted to make one more comment though. Bernard Herrmann thought that directors generally didn't know anything about music, that if films were scored the way the directors wanted them to be, they'd be a disaster. So
it's probably true.
Yes. It's a good way to end it. But yeah, Sunday Study Hall, and then Sound Engraver back for Monday Night Muse on Monday. So, well, thank you for having me on with you. And
always.
Again next week. And it'll be one of two Dracula movies. We're not sure yet, but we will let you know, okay? Isn't that right? Okay.
Yeah, either Bram Stoker's or the 78 or 79.
Dracula 79 with Frank Langella.
79, yeah.
With Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing in that one. It's interesting. Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing in Dracula 79, and Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing in the Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola. Interesting.
True.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by, and I'll let you have the last word, Birdman.
Adopt, don't shop. If you're looking for a pet, check your shelters first, please. But thank you everyone for coming by. Keep listening to those great film scores, and we'll see you for more content next Wednesday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.